This is Chris Kelly with a nutritional overview of our nutrition programs for MFIT as well as our small group training. All right, and in this presentation, we're going to give you a couple of options, whether your goal is fat loss or muscle gain, and kind of show you how these things are set up. So our first option is what we call our 30-day diet. All right, now our 30-day diet is sort of the entry-level diet for those that are just getting into our program, looking to lose some body fat, and again, are just starting out. And this is basically a sugar deprivation diet. All right, we take away a lot of the elements that create weight gain in the first place, but what we don't do is worry about calorie intake. The biggest thing is to work on the building blocks that are going to make you successful long term. You're also going to lose between 8 to 12 pounds, which is the average that is lost in our program. So the way this diet works is we begin our first 3 days with a green smoothie, okay? And as you'll see in our next slide, which is our nutritional schedule example, we have just a green smoothie for breakfast, and that really is intended to clean you out, really. And that consists of fruits, some sort of a fruit, so bananas, strawberries, berries, whatever works for you, as well as kale or spinach. So maybe a cup of kale, as well as 2 bananas. All right, that would be an example. Then the rest of the day is going to be spent eating fruits and veggies only. So we're cutting out protein on these 3 days. We're giving your body, we're kind of cleaning your body out a little bit. We're preparing her for what's to come. From then on, the rules for the diet are no fruit or added sugar for the next, we say 21 days, but the rest of the diet, the number 21 is arbitrary. You consume only foods from the shopping list of the document that we include with this. And then you keep a nutrition log on myfitnesspal.com. Okay, and the goal with that is that we want to be able to check on you and give you feedback and see that you're actually doing it, and really to understand whether or not what you're eating is good or bad. I can't say to somebody that asked me, hey, I had this for lunch and dinner and breakfast, is it working or not? I don't know unless I see a sustained period of time. And really the purpose of a nutrition log is to be able to look at your diet and say, okay, this isn't working, so I'll take this out and I'll put this in. So it is systematic, okay? And that's definitely one thing that we want you to do. You can have one cheat meal during our program, and that would be on Saturday night. So if you're drinking alcohol, you'd be craving things all week, whatever it may be, plan it out. I would say my favorite cheat meal is a steak, 2 sweet potatoes, and a piece of pecan pie. And I know that that's what I like, so generally that's what I'm having. Okay, and I've had clients before that have said, okay, I'm just going to go to a buffet and see what happens. And that never works because you end up 6 plates deep and with a horrible stomachache. So again, try to plan out as much as you can what you're going to eat. Now we have a couple things that went off the slide here, but one question I get a lot is condiments. What do I have for condiments and spices? If it's calorie free, it's okay. So mustard, for example, is all right, whereas ketchup is not, because ketchup has calories. So really just look for that. I would say as far as spices go, stick to things that are like 1 or 2 ingredients, such as like cinnamon or cumin or anything like that, as opposed to like say a Miss Dash seasoning. Just because I've seen somebody use Miss Dash, 2/3 of the thing, and it has ingredients like tomato paste, dextrose, a lot of different stuff that adds up. Even though in one serving is a trace amount, together the whole container or half the container would be maybe 50 to 100 calories. When you're trying to lose weight, every calorie counts. So we really want to look at that. Now, as far as our meal plan goes, I want to reiterate the fact that this is just a sample. Okay, I'm not telling you what to eat. I'm not a nutritionist. That's not my job. However, I will give you examples, and this program, this particular thing could work, if you followed it. But again, I'm not telling you to do that. So now, what we have are our 3 detox days. All right, so day 1, day 2, day 3. Our breakfast is a green smoothie. Okay, as we described in an earlier slide. Lunch would be 2 to 3 cups of veggies and 1 cup of fruit. And really, you cannot have too many veggies. Go crazy with that. That's perfectly fine. Just make sure that you don't overstuff yourself. And then dinner is going to be the same thing. So those days are pretty simple. And again, that's to clean your body out. From there, you'll notice that I've just included 2 days of sample meals. One crucial thing that I recommend is a prep day with this program. You're going to want to prep on a Saturday or Sunday or whatever day that you normally do that. Do your shopping. Make sure you're set up. Use our shopping list or use the list from the stuff that I'll describe. and get your food, know what you're going to eat. Take some time to put that together. What I like to do is I like to prep 2 days of food and just go back and forth between those 2 days. So I have a day one and a day two, and I'll generally repeat that for 2 weeks, so I know what I'm having. I mean, these are things that I like a lot, but that way if I get to, the middle of the week and I run out of food, or I don't prep for more than 2 or 3 days, I know what I'm eating basically, so I have kind of a template to follow. Okay, the more simplified we can make this, the better off we're going to be. So just keep it simple, make it things that you like, and then you can sub in smaller things, but try to make your major meals similar, and that's going to greatly cut down on prep time. So one thing that we include with our program is a sample meal template. And the sample meal template just breaks things down into portions. Like we haven't included the shopping list here, but we will in the document that we give you. And the breakfast, lunch, and dinner, you're basically looking at 1 serving of protein, which for a female would be 4 to 6 ounces at the size of the palm of your hand. For a male, that would be 2 palms. And then 1 to 2 cups of veggies. And again, you can't really go wrong with the number of veggies that you eat. The one piece of advice I'll give you on veggies is that you want to stick to green and white vegetables. You want to stay away from things like beets, carrots, even squash and green beans, just because those are going to be more caloric and higher in sugar. So again, if it's not on our list, with the exception of a couple things, don't eat it. But again, if you have questions, just ask me, or post in our group, ask one of our coaches. But it's pretty much what you're looking at. You can have a protein shake before workout. Really, that's kind of the only time when we're going to have something like that, other than say for a snack. For snacks, we included in our list what we call quick snacks, and these are basically you're looking at protein or fat. Okay, and I like things that are portioned out. If you're going to eat nuts, for example, I like those little 100-calorie packets of nuts. That way you're not overdoing it. You know how much you're getting. That's a good thing. And with protein, I mean, it's hard to overeat. You can have lunch meat slices or cheese cubes or cottage cheese. I mean, again, these are all things that are pretty accessible that you can eat pretty quickly, and that's what we're looking for with snacks. A lot of, most of you that watch this presentation are going to be working. You're busy during the day, so just pick things that are easy to consume, and you'll have no problems. So now when we're looking at calorie needs, okay, and we're going on to kind of the more advanced version of our diet, all right? So let's say, you've plateaued with our 30-day diet, or, it's just not something that will work for you. Really the gold standard is being able to create your own basic diet, and we've created a couple done for you diets, but I'm giving you the nuts and bolts of how to do that here because it is important, and it's something that you can do for the rest of your life pretty simply. And what we use is what is called a macro based approach, meaning we use these numbers to calculate our calories, and then we determine how many fats, carbs, and proteins that we're going to eat based upon our goals, and that allows us to kind of gives us a range that we stay in for the period of time we're dieting or whatever, and it also kind of gives us it allows us to know what we're doing when we're tracking our nutrients. Okay, and this is all dependent upon you tracking. It's important that you do that. You can see whether or not you met your macros, and if you do, it's really there's no limit as far as what you can eat. I mean, ice cream will fit into that if you budget correctly. I'm not saying that that's what you want to eat all the time, but you can certainly put what we call quote unquote indulgences into it, as long as they fit into your numbers. So I think that's a benefit of this diet. Now, as you can see here, what we do is we multiply your weight by a number based upon your activity level. So let's say you're female, you're pretty sedentary. What I'd do is I'd start at 10 if my goal was weight loss, and then I'd work on it for a while. When I started a plateau, I would go down to 9. But the only time we really want to drop our calories is when we stop seeing weight loss and we start to plateau. I would even up cardio before I drop my calories, just because I want to keep my metabolism as high as possible. So we always err on the higher side, believe it or not, because the higher our metabolism is, the more effect we'll get when we drop it down. So say you're pretty active, as a female, you could go all the way up to 14. And again, that seems like a high number, but I would really be conscious of this, especially if you are, plateauing. Really, that's oftentimes the reason why. And so sometimes you need to eat more to kind of get your body to respond again. And I think that that's an important thing. So always start high, and then go lower as needed. So we can proceed anywhere from 14 to 8 there. Again, for somebody that's looking for weight gain, we could go all the way up to 16 to 18. I know that's cut off a little bit, but again, you'll get this in our slides. And that's only going to be for somebody that's super active. But say you work in a mine or something like that, you need those calories in order to gain weight. So again, on the lower end, if you're afraid of weight gain, if you're a female that you've been pretty anemically low in your calories, say 1,200 or below for a long time, we're gonna have to slowly raise our calories up. So in that case, I would start with 12. Multiply your weight by 12. And eat that way for maybe 2 weeks, and then go up 100 calories or go up to 13. And that way, that's going to ensure that you don't add any added fat. You're really staying close to, your the proper numbers. So again, that's what I would recommend. You notice with males, it's the same formula, it's just a little higher. So males, burn more calories. We can get away with eating a little bit more, but that's the first step, is to figure out your calorie number. From there, our next step is to determine macros, okay? And we call those macronutrients. And that's just basically the amount of fat, carbs, and protein that we're eating per day. So for this, you'd be looking at anywhere from 25 to 30 for fat loss, 25 to 30% carbs, 50 to 20% protein, 55 to 65% fat. And again, I would err on the side of caution with this. So let's say you just started a diet, you're looking to lose weight. Start on the higher end of these things. Start with your carbs higher. Start with your protein a little bit lower, and then kind of flip those as you go along. We've created in our done-for-you diets, we've set certain macros, but again, as long as you stay within the range, and you can even say, I'm going to calculate 25% and 30%, and I'll say I'll stay between those two numbers as far as the say 55 grams of carbs and 75 grams of carbs that day. Again, that just gives you an idea of where you need to be, and you'll see that when you look at our done-for-you diets. But again, you can kind of get an idea of obviously higher carbs for muscle gain, whereas we're going lower carbs for fat loss. Okay, so that's really the main thing here. So if we're putting this all together, what we do is we say, okay, I'm I'm somebody that's I'm a man that wants to gain gain muscle mass. All right, so I'm going to multiply my weights by 18 to 20. Okay, and then I'm going to do my macros. Okay, and as you can see here, for him, he have his ranges. As long as he stays in these ranges, he can have donuts, he can have ice cream. I'm not saying that those are the best choices nutritionally, and I'm not advocating for that necessarily. But again, this is the reality of the situation. The idea that we have to eat clean all the time is a misnomer. It's really not necessarily the case. And so again, figure out, eat clean. I mean, have things that are good for you, whole foods, oats, different things like that. However, if you do crave food or want to cheat, as long as it fits into your stuff, you're going to be all right, and it's not really cheating. So I would just say don't use that as a crutch, but that is something that you can kind of lean on. So using our FitClick system, all right, so whereas for our 30-day diet, we want you to create an account at myfitnesspal.com, FitClick.com is the system that allows us to create custom diets and shopping lists, all right? We have done that for you. What I want you to do, if you're using this approach, is to go to MyFitness or go to fitness or go to fitclick.com and friend Peak Fitness Lakeland. All right, Peak Fitness Lakeland is me. Okay, that's our account that we created for our clients there. And choose a diet that would be regarding based upon your goals, either muscle gain or fat loss. So if you were a male looking for muscle gain, you choose MFIT muscle gain, male. If you're a female looking for fat loss, MFIT fat loss, female. And really, as far as the choice of the diets go, I would say if you're new, if you've never done this before, you're looking to drop some pounds, keep it simple. Start with our 30-day diet. If you're a little bit more experienced or your calories are really low, I would start with this approach, our FitClick approach, just because this is going to help to normalize things a little bit for you, and it's going to be a little bit more lenient as far as giving you leeway. If you don't like extremely strict diets as well, this fit click approach is a little bit better, but either one is going to get you results. And again, just my goal for you is your setup by the time we start on the beginning of our next cycle. Look forward to working with you, and thank you for listening to our presentation.